Welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Ray. With me are the co-hosts, Mike and Josh. Gentlemen, say hi.
Howdy.
What up, y'all?
So, we're looking at... I don't want to get into politics. Actually, we're not going to get into politics. Let's just jump right into the politics of gaming. Guys, I don't want to bury the lead. Epic and Apple are being idiots.
Oh, they sure are.
Let's just get that out there.
Everybody, the billion-dollar companies are fighting again. Everyone pick a good side and a bad side. Make an argument about which the billion-dollar company is the best one, which billion-dollar company is the bad one.
I want to correct you. One of them's a trillion-dollar company.
Oh. Okay. I'm sorry. And I'm the Apple fanboy. Okay. I see how it is.
I actually do like Apple products. I like some.
They're
Apple
not
products.
bad. Yeah, bad. They get the
They're not great though.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Depending on what you want to do, like, if you're trying to get into like PC gaming, I will never recommend a Mac anything to you because that's dumb. So for the wide majority of the people listening to this, probably a MacBook isn't for you. And then
what if I want to spend the most money possible to process Word documents?
Beautiful. I have the option for you.
Where can I go? What can I do?
Technically, you could build just a really stupidly expensive PC on Newegg. I mean, that's an option. That's the fun thing about a PC. It's as expensive or as cheap as you want to make it. Anyways, so Epic Games decided to
give us the lowdown here.
Yeah, they decided to do something that they knew was outside of their terms of service of working with Apple. Out of nowhere, I think like 2-3 weeks ago, they said, "Hey guys, for right now, for 20% off, you can not buy anything through the iTunes store if you want to get your V-Bucks. It's $9.99 for this many V-Bucks, but for the same amount, you can get it for $7.99, but directly go into Epic." And within 7 hours, they got a cease and desist and kicked off the App Store.
You know, Daddy needs his V-Bucks, man. Like, you got to secure the bag there. The V-bag.
I think you meant Daddy needs to buy me V-Bucks.
Is actually...
Gosh.
Yes, I'm going to start an OnlyFans, and the only currency I will accept will be V-Bucks. 100 V-Bucks gets you Bleep, etc., etc.
I'd buy it.
You can... Hell yeah, brother. Dudes rock.
After they got kicked off the App Store, as they should, because they broke terms of service flagrantly, they started the free Fortnite campaign. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm skipping steps. They launched a video which was imitating the Apple's 1984 commercial, talking about how Epic Games was going to defeat the totalitarian regime of Apple. And then they said, like, Apple's being unfair to Epic Games. They charge us 30% for every transaction that they ever make. And it's like, and? You agreed to this, fools!
And don't forget, immediately also after launching that advertisement and getting kicked off, submitted a 60-something odd page legal brief complaint against Apple.
Yeah.
They had this on stand. That's the most gross thing about this. That they're just like, yeah, we're gonna flop it on the table and see what happens. And it's like, do you want the kids to be on your side in a legal dispute? And the answer is yes. They want the children that play Fortnite to be on their side.
And if I understand correctly,
why?
You can still play Fortnite like on App Store.
If you had it downloaded previously, you can still play it. So they didn't take it off your phone, but no new downloads of Fortnite can happen right now.
Yeah. And so it's also kind of a ticking time bomb because I'm assuming that they can't they can't get new updates.
Correct. I think without App Store compatibility, like being on the App Store, there are no like updates getting pushed out, and I don't know that Epic necessarily has a way to push them out directly to the client on the phone without going through the App Store. I think that's probably part of Apple's security it's not like Android where you can sideload something and say like I accept the risk of putting this software on my phone without the Google Play Protect feature and functionality. Like you don't have that on
Yeah.
Apple.
Shit, if they want to, and just release a hotfix that just says, "Hey, this particular lines of code just don't work on our phones anymore or products." Boop. Now you can't play Fortnite on your phones. They could do that, and there's nothing Epic could do to stop them. What are they gonna do? Complain?
And I remember reading this like today or yesterday, and I can't remember the exact particulars, but there was also some leak or some information that came out where, I guess there was some internal discussion of like if Epic had just had a conversation with Apple, they actually could have avoided a lot of this. I think they were citing the Netflix, where Netflix only gets a 15% cut taken from Apple for subscription. So like there is room for negotiation. You just have to be willing to do the work, and it sounds like Epic just doesn't want to do the work, period. So
Yeah, and there was, I mean, some of the motions on that, just to kind of update people, because this initially happened a couple weeks ago, but actually, like, things are moving on this pretty quickly, because, like, I believe it was like it might have been just yesterday actually that a district court, like the district court handling this case, denied Epic Games' motion to restore Fortnite to iOS while this is pending, but also ordered Apple to not block the gaming giant's ability to provide and distribute the Unreal Engine on the iPhone ecosystem. This is that kind of blurb from TechCrunch here.
Apple probably just says, you know what, nothing Epic related just works in our devices until you guys settle this up. And you know what? That actually hurts game developers who rely on getting their product out there.
There is so much built on the Unreal Engine. Like, I think that would be almost impossible to enforce. And also, I don't think that would curry favor towards Apple if suddenly, Apple took one of the main game development engines off of their platform and said, sorry, can't do it. Like, I think that puts Apple in a worse standing. Like, that's where you start to get to the, that actual quote unquote monopolistic behavior that Epic is kind of claiming that they have.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you only because they're not saying that you can't put Epic games on like an Android phone. Is Windows Phone still around? No, I don't think they are. All right, we're gonna go with just Android phone.
I just like kind of reading through some of the news on this. Side note, Microsoft has also kind of chimed in and was like, yeah, this is dumb. In reference to Apple's, because they're trying to get like xCloud stuff going through the App Store here too. I think there are a lot of people kind of watching this to see how this plays out. Apple's response to that temporary order is pretty funny. We thank the court for recognizing that Epic's problem is entirely self-inflicted and is in their power to resolve. We'd also like to thank the court for calling Epic big dum-dums and that they are doo-doo heads. Apple, please do not sue me. That was parody. Parody.
I want to say that I am a simp for Epic Games. I love the Unreal Engine. I love working on it. I love fiddling with it. I love games made by it. Fuck, man, I lost so much respect in that entire company. Like, I wasn't like, bending the knee to them. I just love their product and their software. This is disgusting.
Yeah, the problem is I support the thing that they're trying to do. I hate the way that they're going about it.
Yeah, because they're like purposely poking at like kids, like because they know their target audience is mostly children and people like under the age of, we'll say, 25. They know that's their target audience. Like, yeah, come on, be on our side for this large legal battle between two gigantically rich monolithic companies. Like, who cares? There's a pandemic going on. Could you guys have picked a worse time? There's an open recession going on. No one gives a fuck about your tech dick battle. Jesus Christ.
So I disagree with that a little bit, and like nobody cares. Like there are people who are
Developers care.
Yeah, I mean there are developers who care. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Floatplane at all. Have you guys heard of that before?
Mm.
No.
So it's a kind of video distribution network created by Linus Media Group with Linus Tech Tips, and it's kind of like a Patreon for YouTubers, if you kind of think of it that way. So it's like you can go and these YouTube creators and personalities like have videos that they create specifically for Floatplane, and subscribers to Floatplane pay directly to the creators that they want to support. In a model where you are hosting all these videos and taking payments directly. Like they talk about they just cannot afford to lose 30% because video distribution is so expensive, and the whole point of Floatplane is to support content creators directly, and when you're getting into like the very razor thin margins with 30% of a cut, like you can't do it. And they talk about the monolithic black box that is Apple and the way that they approve apps, of like all the features and functionality that they have had to take out of the Apple Floatplane app to try and get it to pass the App Store acceptance test, where they've broken the app so much it is basically unusable. They have mirrored it after other apps that are on the App Store, and they still get told no because they can't have any reference to subscriptions. They can't have any way to let people know that there is a way to subscribe anywhere else. Like there's all these things that they have to do. So like there are people out there, there are creators out there, there are folks who just can't. Like 30% is too high of a cut for Apple to take for just being a storefront. Like that is just
And
too
I think
high of a
that's
percentage.
that kind of seems to be based on like I am not a lawyer. I don't know, yada yada. But that's kind of my understanding of like the initial argument from Apple. I think with what they're going to try and say in a lot of these cases is that when people decide to purchase an iPhone, they are de facto choosing to put themselves in this walled garden ecosystem, and all the pluses and minuses of that.
But like remember when
that's what Apple is going to try to argue.
Yes.
And Epic seems to say that is going to try to say that no, that's not the decision the consumer is making at that time.
Yeah, I mean, remember when we broke up Microsoft because they put an internet browser in Windows? Like, come on, like,
Yeah, so it's an interesting question to like see how this kind of plays out. I mean, we're still pretty early on. I think the trial actually like kind of gets to work in September here, but
yeah, I
stand on.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I think Apple has gotten to a point where the flat 30% for what the App Store offers is just it's not what it used to be. Like the App Store doesn't offer the same things it used to be because discoverability is so atrocious. Like it's not the same, and you can, I'm pretty sure you can straight buy like ranking on that platform, and like yes, distribution is helpful, but like distribution isn't as expensive and as hard as it used to be, so the value of the App Store just isn't what it once was in the early 2010s. And even
Fortnite, they're like the game makes 1/3 of $1 billion a month. It's not like they're struggling for cash. That's what really offends me. They act like we're the little guy trying to fight for you guys. Like,
yeah, it's real cute.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's adorable.
People don't not know what Fortnite is. Give me a break. I don't even like the game that much. I just respect it because it's actually a really decent battle royale game, and I respect the content that they put on it. But they're now selling skins based on their lawyers for their Apple case. This is gross.
I mean,
that's so good.
Counterpoint, when Fortnite went ham and they started making money hand over fist, Epic Games with the Unreal Engine completely changed their monetization methods for how they were compensated for use of the Unreal Engine, and what percentage cut they took for being hosted on the Epic Game Store, if they're not losing a third of their daily revenue to just be on the Apple platform, could they do even better for developers because they're not just giving a third of their money to Apple for shits and gigs? I mean, I'm not saying that they would have a conscience and actually pay developers, but like that's a legitimate argument you can make because like when Epic started making more money, they gave developers more money. If they made even more money, they could ostensibly give developers even more money. Like they could help. One of the big problems we talk about in like compensating people properly in the industry, like it is something to consider in this discussion. I again don't know that they would necessarily do that, but the argument could be made.
They wanted to jump onto the train of like enter the adult world, stop getting kids to be on your legal defense side, and they said, listen, here's why we're doing this. We actually want to give developers more incentives and more money to get more games out there into the world, but here are our margins, and here's why we can't do that right now. If we were making like 15% on the App Store, here's what we could do. Yeah, more adults would be like on Epic side. To be clear, I'm not on Apple's side either. 30% is dumb. A company I used to, game company I used to work for, to get our game on Steam, Steam also charges like 30%. And that's what just the big boys charge, and everyone's just like in agreement on that. Like, yeah, we want to be on this platform. I'm not saying it's right at all. That's just like the cost of doing business. I wish Epic kept this to like a courtroom, or they kept it to like a private conversation like most businesses do. They're like, hey, we're the biggest video game on your platform. Can we maybe cut a deal here? But if what you said about Netflix is true, I could respect Netflix for that. They're like, let's come to the table and talk dosh, Let's be real about this. Maybe you shouldn't be charging us 30%.
But
they did kind of go with like the most Charlie Kelly wild card option here, which is very funny and something that I deeply respect.
But
so
the thing is, if they do this in the courtroom, or if they do this in just like a back, like, hey, yo, you want to cut us a deal because we make you guys a lot of money, like that also doesn't help the little guys. And again, I know they're going about it in the wrong way, but like I will say that Epic creating such a fuss is helping others down the food chain have a legitimate conversation about like, hey, this ecosystem just it isn't providing the value that it once was, and asking for 30% of revenue just to be hosted on here and maybe process payments, like that is just it's not the same value add that it once was. Like,
for how like kind of vital these ecosystems have become, it is something to we are kind of due for a reckoning on like,
because it's also
what
not like
means.
Apple
like what service Apple's really providing.
Yeah, because it's also not like Apple, like mobile games are that big. It's not like a Steam game where Valve is paying for the bandwidth to move hundreds of gigabytes per user per game. You're talking at most sometimes a gig. Like, I mean, at the very high end, yeah, you have a couple games that are at a couple gigs, but like for the most part, you're looking at hundreds of megs to a gig. Like you're just not moving as much data. Like the cost of distribution just isn't nearly as high on some as it is on that.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk about the ridiculousness of we're not making enough money. Because I realized what I just said, and I like rolled it around in my head while listening to Josh's explanation. And I'm like, wait a minute, what I said was stupid. I want to remind everyone again: a quarter to a third of $1 billion a month. Ladies and gentlemen, that is money you might never see in your entire life. I'm hopeful. I'm respectful.
Okay.
Like I want everyone to be successful.
Okay, Mr. Oh, I might have $250 million in sometime in my life. Oh, okay.
Gotta respect the grind over here.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a month. That's stupid money. And for them to say like, you know what? We're paying too much on the App Store. It's like, get over yourselves. You're not the ones to have this conversation.
I guess like they're the only people who can swing that hard, though.
That's true. They have the biggest hammer.
We're seeing exactly so.
But they also wouldn't. I think we've alluded about this a couple times. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I think they went about this in like the dumbest way possible because all their lawyers have to do is, did you break TOS? Yes or no? Well, yes. Stop, Your Honor. What else are we doing here? We don't have to host them. They broke our terms of service.
It is a very interesting, like Apple said, you know, we here at Apple appreciate the judge recognizing that Epic are being doo-doo heads and little babies, who don't want to weed their whittle contract. So I am curious to see kind of what ends up happening here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have a prediction on to make at this point, and we can go on to some other news here because there's been a lot of news lately.
Yeah, the skins.
Just everyone loves it when the billion-dollar companies fight. Everyone pick your billion-dollar company. And
no, I'm gonna steal this from Jim Sterling.
Team.
I hope they both implode from the inside out if it really comes down to that. I really don't mean that. I love Apple products and I love Epic Tech.
Fine by me. Let them both.
No,
die.
Josh,
Oh my god, I don't mean that. I love you, Apple.
No, I really don't mean that they should all just like disappear and everyone should be like instantly unemployed. But I think this is just so shitty. I really do feel for like the everyday worker that works at both of those companies. Like the engineers, the software devs on either company. They're just like, guys, I want nothing to do with this. I just want to come here, do my job.
They're just like they're
no.
just like
Apple needs to burn to the ground, and all the people who got poached and are working on Apple Silicon need to go back to Intel and fix that monstrosity.
Fuck Apple and everything that they make.
So Josh has picked the side. Josh has definitively picked the Fortnite skins. The loyal Fortnite skin pisses me off the most.
I mean,
I think that actually like makes me sick.
I don't give a shit about Fortnite.
Ray,
but I hate Apple,
Ray, your description of everybody actually working at these companies trying to like keep Fortnite from exploding. It's just the only thing I can picture is like the Wojak guy being like healthcare bliss. It's the only thing I can think of.
Have you? Oh my god.
My brain is poison. What other news do we want to talk about?
Well, we could talk about what games we've been playing. We kind of skipped over that.
We did skip over that. And I have been on the road a little bit, so haven't played too much new stuff lately. I did play a little bit of Sensation That's Sweeping the Nation. I played some Fall Guys because it was free on PlayStation. Couple things. I think that opening, that main menu music is a bop. It's very good. I love that music.
That game.
It's very cutesy and like it's got some good like kind of junior senior energy going on, so that's kind of fun. I think the gameplay itself is. I just don't love the platforming feel. I'm playing it on PS4, not a PC. So I don't know if that's a big difference, but I just don't. The physics don't feel super tight. I guess. I mean, that's kind of the point. It's supposed to. I'm not like I need the precise control of, in Fall Guys.
I mean,
like I'm not gonna go Fall Guys Pro here or anything, but
MLG Mike.
It's I think it's a cool idea. It seems like they've got some. I think based on the initial kind of response to it, I mean, they sold like 2 million copies in their first week. So, and it's pretty clear they've got some like ideas for like seasonal content and stuff going forward. They've got, like every other fucking game these days that has a season pass. So I mean, I think it's all right. I don't know if I like am super blown away with it, but I think it's a cool thing. And I've had a little bit of fun with what I've been playing of it so far. Ray, what have you been playing?
So, I picked up Ghost of Tsushima last week, and I've been very busy at work, and I haven't had time to play it yet. So I just had this game that's been sitting on my Switch for a while. I played Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Surprise!
Oh.
I actually love the Shantae games. I've played every single Shantae game that's ever come out. including the weird Game Boy Color one. I didn't beat it. I can't be asked. It's not good. It's not great.
This does not surprise me in the slightest.
But all the other ones are great. This one, Shantae and the Seven Sirens, I hopped off of it like in, I want to say June. Yeah, at the beginning of June. I said, I'll get back to this. It's just not catching me right now. I decided, I have a couple extra hours in between. Me and the missus are redoing the kitchen. So while that's being done, I had a couple extra hours in between. I was like, okay, I'll play this game. Playing it, and it's fine. It's okay. It's good. It's like it's like a Metroidvania. Josh, I would not actually recommend you playing it since you're a fan of Metroidvanias, because it's like a very stupid, easy, like pants on head Metroidvania. It's got some of those Metroidvania things where they're like, yeah, we realize you just came all the way over here and you got us the item that we asked for, but what if we told you to immediately go get us 3 of these other items scattered all the way across the fucking map? And yes, it's just a bunch of fetch quests that are just time sinks. And all the Metroidvania style Shantae games have those fetch quest time sinks, and none of them are good. Not a single one of them. It's more egregious on like newer hardware, because you're like, I'm getting too old for this. This is getting kind of dumb. This is getting long in the tooth. I wish you guys would revise this formula. But other than that, took me 10 hours to beat. It's very simple. I don't think I ever really died once. Play it if you like the Shantae games, or don't. I don't think it's worth $30. It's $15 is a good price for it. Oh, another $15 game I've played. Curse of the Moon 2. Okay. Josh and Mike, do you guys like Castlevania?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Castlevania without being called Castlevania. It's just like Curse of the Moon 1, except more of that. And one of the characters you get to play is a corgi in a mech suit.
Sold.
If that doesn't sell you, nothing will. I'm sorry.
Boy, what? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm down. That sounds great.
Yeah, there's a corgi in the mech suit. It's great. It's fun. I loved it.
Love a corgi, love a mech suit. Put them
And
together.
it's $15. It took me $15 to get the best ending of the game, because you have to play through the game 3 times. That part's not that great. Josh is giving me a look. Yeah, the first Curse of the Moon, to get like the best ending, you have to play through it twice. This one says now you have to play through it 3 times. 4 times if you fuck up on the second time and get the bad ending. Don't do that. Don't.
This is like near Automata, where you're like, you have to play through the game 84 times to get all the letters and numbers.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now, there's only 26 letters in the alphabet, and all those are true endings. Okay, all right. Don't get
First of all, Mike's right. There are 26 endings. Second of all, you only need to get 5 of the endings to get the best one. Third of all,
only 5.
Third of all, no, I know we're going. Fuck, now we gotta talk about Nier Automata. Mike scared me when he said you have to play through the game 5 times. It's not what you think.
There are 5 endings.
There are 5 endings.
You don't have to play through the game 5 times, but there are 5 endings.
Yeah.
If it ends and then keeps going, it's not an ending, it's just a middle portion.
That's actually the correct way to look at it. Realistically
Exactly.
speaking.
See, you get it. Yeah, you're fine. Now, go ahead, go play the game.
Just call them chapters.
No.
Actually would be a lot.
No.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Josh. That would have scared me a lot less had you told me, oh, there are 5 chapters. Oh, okay, I'm down. Because it takes you 40 hours to beat the game anyway, so may as well.
Anyway,
game.
I digress.
Curse of the Moon 2, great game. Way better than Shantae. I highly recommend it. That's it. Those are the 2 little Switch games that I've been playing. Josh, what have you been playing?
So, 2 main things I've been playing. Been back into Destiny recently. I think I talked about that a little bit last week. You know, been very much enjoying that. Some of the new seasonal content has been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the things that we are doing, getting ready for the next expansion coming up. You know,
Pyramid's big.
Yeah, those pyramids are big and they're spooky.
Pyramid's big.
very spooky. But yeah, like in Destiny, and then been making my way through more of the super hot mind control delete. Um, I think I'm hitting the point of the game where, while I am interested in the story and the things that they are putting into it,
Mhm.
I might be hitting that point where I just the scenarios that they're putting you in and the way that they give you the upgrades that you earn is not meshing in a way that makes the gameplay move any faster, and
Yeah.
it's kind of been a bit of a slog. Like I'm just on these nodes doing 10 different of the same levels that you've been
Level
before,
sets.
and
Yeah.
trying to you may be doing it from a different angle, or you might hey, oh, I got the hack for 4 hearts instead of 3. I got the hack for start every level with a random gun. But just something about it. I'm trying to get through it, but every time I will get to the very end and I do something stupid and I die, and then you have to start the whole node over again and do the same 10. It just, I don't know. I
It,
don't know if the story that they're trying to tell through the gameplay is worth the payoff of the frustration of really having to grind through levels.
yeah. Like I think that was kind of one thing that I haven't played too much more of it beyond what I kind of mentioned previously. But that was kind of one thing I was kind of worried about too, was just that it very clearly, I think you kind of learned that there are kind of like 10 or like you said, 10 or so levels. You'll have like slightly different powers, but it doesn't feel like for a kind of like a run based game. It just doesn't feel like it has kind of like the width or like um the kind of the different ways, like something like Slay the Spire. Like, yes, you're going through like pretty similar fights, but like there are like each run is like very very different based on like what kind of cards you get, what kind of build you're kind of putting together, and it feels like in Mind Control Delete that it's super hot, but it just doesn't feel like that game doesn't quite have the breadth to like really support the randomness that you need to keep
Yeah.
a game like that fresh.
I think that if they would make some of the hacks that you get on the node more permanent, like, okay, so on this node I unlocked the katana recovery. Like, if that were just persistent for the remainder of the nodes on
Yeah.
that level, that might change it. But instead of just making it another hack that I might get the option to randomly choose between, that's not as appealing. That makes it a lot more difficult. And I'll get into why I was playing the original Super Hot in just a minute. But like, I also got to play the first Super Hot very recently, and also just kind of remember like, oh, that beginning sequence where you're typing on the keyboard to talk with your friend and experiencing like
Hmm.
getting into the game, and that the way that game started, the spooky clandestine storytelling that they're going for in Mind Control Delete is not as engaging if you are spending so much time just doing random generated levels and banging your head against the
Yeah.
wall. Like, it doesn't quite add up. I mean, it's still super hot, it's still good, but just I think I might have had my fill of it. We'll see.
Yeah. It kind of in like a kind of like what you were getting at. It kind of makes me think that like the gameplay of Super Hot is pretty cool, and it's a pretty cool concept. But I think the things that really made it like really special is like how well crafted it is of like a story experience, and all the things that they around the periphery that they do to sell that. Like how like in universe, like Super Hot is fucking crazy.
Yeah, and
And like
the opening of Super Hot Mind Control Delete is very much like that, and it's part of the reason why I got so excited. Is like the first 30 minutes is very crafted and curated, and they tell a story with not only like this, typical story beats, but just the actual gameplay itself, and like the way that when certain things happen and you see things that you've already done, like there are things that they do in those first 30 minutes that are really impactful that got me really excited to be like, oh, they're doing it again. And then they kind of just drop it a little bit with the repetitiveness of the,
Yeah.
the levels that you're trying to, hack through. But I mentioned that I'd played some Super Hot. The reason I played the original Super Hot is because I signed up for Google Stadia for a month on a trial.
That's right. I forgot you mentioned that.
And so I played. So if you are a Stadia Pro member,
Our favorite whipping boy around here, Google
they
Stadia.
give you a $10 credit to the store. I think you get a discount on certain games, but there's also a list of Stadia Pro games, and on that list of games there were 2 games that I'm fairly familiar with, those being Super Hot and then Metro 2033. So those are 2 games I've played a lot of, know very much how they control, so I thought those would be good tests for me to try it out. And honestly, it worked pretty well. So I was playing on my PC, which is hardwired. I have a pretty fast connection, but I was playing with my keyboard and mouse. It's hard to complain about, like, I just went to the game, I clicked the button, and it launched, and it took over my browser, it went full screen. I used mouse and keyboard like you would in any game. Like, it didn't feel unnatural. There is obviously input lag because it is going over the internet to a server farm and a computer offsite. But like, it wasn't that noticeable. I did not feel like it was hindering my gameplay. Like, I went through the opening sequences of Metro, shooting the baddies. I went through the first few levels of Super Hot. Like, I didn't feel like the latency was, so terrible that it was going to affect me. Now, I could notice it, but that is because A, I'm playing games that I'm familiar with, and B, I've just been playing games more than casually for a long time. But let's say if my wife were to play, who's a very casual gamer, like, I don't think she would notice anything off about it. Now, I would be interested. I just built my wife a computer, actually. She needed a desktop for doing some work at home. It's got her a Ryzen APU, so it's got integrated graphics, so she doesn't have like a discrete graphics card. So like, it can play esports titles, low to medium settings fairly well, but like nothing too serious. But she's also on a wireless connection, so I would be interested to try Stadia on her machine. But like, for somebody like her, if she had, her laptop, she has a Chromebook from school, or, she had this desktop at home that doesn't really have, a dedicated GPU that's capable of running super, like, good games, like, and she's like, oh, I want to play Tomb Raider or something, or, she was into Doom. Like, honestly, it's not that bad of an experience. Like, somebody who is more casual and doesn't want to drop the money to like invest in a
whole
console
system,
or the whole like proper gaming rig, like, I can see the value in it. The problem,
I think, like, sorry, I think what you're probably about to say was like, the problem is like I feel like the most ideal experience with something like Stadia is, I guess, like, this is kind of like inherently hardcore, because you have to have like a pretty stable, pretty good internet. Which, if you are already made the decision to have really good internet, I feel like that would generally imply that you have a reason for pretty good internet. That would, I feel like the people who have good internet are already going to have some sort of like other system that they, in a lot of cases, would already have a system that they'd be doing some of the stuff with. And I also feel like Stadia themselves didn't do a super great job really kind of getting the word out to casual, like to the casual, to the audience,
Yeah,
to like the
like,
audience that they need to hit with a streaming service for games. I feel like they didn't do a great job of like explaining what it really was, how it like works, why they specifically can benefit from it.
Yeah, they're marketing it to like capital G gamers, but like they really should be marketing it to like your mom and college students and people on razor tight budgets. Like something like this would have been great for me in college. You know, I had a school laptop. I didn't have the money to build a gaming rig at all. Like I had a 360, but like, you know, there were PC titles that I was very interested in that, you know, ran on my computer but weren't running great. You know, at one point, like I invested in a gaming laptop as like a stopgap before I got my, you know, my RGBness over here.
Flashbacks to Mike downloading Portal 2 on University of Blank hardware or internet and trying to play it on his University of Blank approved laptop, and let me tell you, that shit sucked.
Yeah,
that was real bad.
You know, for a person who likes games, who's on, you know, doesn't have the money to invest in putting together a sick rig, or is going away to college, like the idea of a streaming game service where like you can have your games anywhere, especially, you know, if you're able to, you know, stream it to a Chromebook and on multiple devices, you can put it on a Chromecast, you can, you know, who knows, you can stream it to your Pixel phone and have like a thing, you know, something like that. It makes sense. My big problem with it is the fact that it's Google, and Google does not have the best track record keeping even successful products alive for the long term, let alone
like Google Glass
floundering products.
I wanted to ask you, Josh, how much did you pay for those games?
Nothing. So the games that I streamed were part of the Stadia Pro free games. So if you are a Stadia Pro member, which I think is $10 a month, you get the ability to stream 4K. You get a selection of free games, and then I think you do get some discounting on the full game store. So if you are on the free tier, you only can stream at 1080p, and then you pay whatever the asking rate for the game is. Well, I will say they're not charging like a premium for anything. If you do buy some of the games, like you can still buy the currency. Like if you get NBA 2K20, like NBA 2K20 right now is $5, but you can still buy like, if you want to get into that game and you want to buy the VC currency, that that's available on there as well. Like SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Heist, those are some of the free Stadia games. They do have Mortal Kombat on here. I didn't buy Mortal Kombat, but I'd be very interested to see how a fighting game is. They have some...
as the official, just to clarify, Josh, with the official unscripted game policy, Mortal Kombat is a party game. It is not a fighting game.
You're right.
I disagree with this. I do not think this is a fair definition of Mortal Kombat. As a newer member to the unscripted gaming family, I technically have less voting shares, so I was overruled in this debate. But I think I just wanted to clarify that for you.
I appreciate that clarification. Final Fantasy 15 is available on here, but yeah, like my problem is like if you're buying these games, outright, and however long down the line Google decides to shutter the service, like, are they still going to, for X amount of time, let you play the games? Are they going to offer partial refunds? Like, I just knowing the way that Google does things, I just can't imagine a world where
Yeah.
Google doesn't eventually shut down Stadia, and like what does that shutdown look like? Now, if I were saying like, hey, Google's going to commit to it for, 5 years, um, I can't sit here and say like it's not a
result from the web.
Oh, shut up, Google. um,
They know.
Yeah. It's funny. I triggered the Google on my phone, but not the one back here. But whatever. But like, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not, it is not having a $1,000 gaming PC in your house, but like, the game looked good. It ran well. It felt like a regular video game. Like, for certain people, I can see it absolutely being the right thing for them. I do have the worry about like if I'm gonna invest in this library and Google shuts the doors in a couple years, like what happens then? And that's the only reason I can't say like yes, you should absolutely go and spend time on this platform if you're not going to build a gaming computer in the next couple of years.
Once again, still don't know who Stadia is for, because it's not like, as Josh has just said a couple of times, it's not like he doesn't have a gaming PC. It's not like he doesn't have a couple consoles laying around. So you went to Stadia like out of boredom or just curiosity. But it's not like you're... What's that?
I mean, it was out of curiosity. I mean, it's, Stadia's for people like my wife. It is for students. It is for casual fans. Like, I think there is let's say you released Call of Duty on Stadia, like around the time of the new console launch. Like, honestly, I bet you could get a decent number of people to say like, hey, I don't have to buy an Xbox anymore. I can just play it on my, my work laptop. I can just fire it up and, HDMI on my TV. Like, it's not the best solution, but like I'm sure there are plenty of people who would say like, oh, that's easier than me having to buy an Xbox every couple years to play Call of Duty every year. Like, there's a subset of the population who is not as hardcore or enthusiast as we are that this is not a bad idea for. It's just the problem is, for a product like this to be successful, you kind of have to market it to the enthusiast crowd because that's like the conventional
Because they're your
wisdom.
early adopters.
But like, that's not who it's for. It's very complicated. It's a very complicated product.
So I think their biggest competitors, GeForce Now and whatever the name of
Shadow.
what's it called? Shadow, I don't think is a real competitor. I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised they're still in business.
They're expanding. Oddly enough,
Are they?
They just opened up new data centers in places not that long ago, and like they have a waiting list for the next round of slots.
Yeah, they're still in beta, aren't they?
Yeah.
GeForce Now still sounds way more appealing if you want, because Steam isn't going anywhere, and let's say GeForce Now does shut down. They're like, you know what, we shot our shop, it's not working out, and GeForce Now shut down. You lost the money that you paid per month, and that was it. It's gone. You still have your games. They're still in your Steam library. Or I forget the name of the Microsoft one. Why did I forget that? Game Pass?
Game Pass.
Game Pass is the obvious slam dunk.
Yeah.
Game Pass is just like,
xCloud.
what's Stadia? Yeah. Where you pay $15 a month and you get unlimited access to all their games in the Microsoft Store. And Xbox is a brand name that you can set your watch to, or put your hat on, whatever.
Now it depends. Let's use let's use the person with the APU desktop or the Chromebook as the example. Like, xCloud is a great portion of Game Pass. It just depends on what titles they have available on there. It's the same thing for Stadia, but I hope that when Stadia does shut down, all the developers who are on there, offer a key to, Steam or some other platform of the customer's choosing as a like, hey, this is shutting down. You can have a key to Steam or Xbox or wherever after this kind of thing is some sort of make good. Like, that would make me feel better, but obviously you can't You can't plan. You can't.
Preset that.
Yeah,
You
you
secure
can't.
the purchase.
When we closed out, like you can't say that. You have to
Yeah.
talk as if Steam is the next
Wait a minute.
big
What?
platform. But speaking of the next big platform, are you guys ready for Josh's Tech Minute?
Yes, but I feel like we should also probably talk about the Halo, which is coming out this
It's-
fall, and so we should talk about it.
I thought it got delayed.
May to 2021.
Yeah, it got
Yeah, that's why we should talk about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Please, Mike, lead the charge.
So, yeah, Microsoft is releasing an S-Boss
Oh,
this
yeah,
fall,
that-
and
oh, I
they
didn't think about
delayed
that.
the dang frickin' Halo game that was gonna launch with it.
You're gonna have it. You're gonna have an Xbox Triple X without Mr. Halo.
Without John Halo on it. Like, what's gonna be on that Xbox?
Credit to Microsoft and 343 Industries. That community backlash was I don't envy them at all. That was harsh. They
I hope
they
they
kind
make,
of got dunked on for
I
like
hope
2
they
weeks
make the
straight.
brute worse just to be like, nope, you
Ah.
people.
Yeah, they got memed a little hard, which, you know, I felt bad about. But yeah. I mean, like I said,
Greg the
they
Brute.
said, did we already talk about this before? Am I going crazy?
No, we haven't. We haven't
okay.
talked about Craig.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so they attributed the delay to, you know, just challenges with working from home, with
Which is
coronavirus.
legitimate.
I'm sure we're going to see a lot of those. I think I've said in the future when I mentioned that Destiny's expansion got delayed. I was not. Yeah, what do I want to say here? Let's just say, I feel like the Halo aesthetic is something that, I mean, it looks pretty good, but like, it's just something that I think doesn't immediately translate super well to like the next gen of consoles, especially with them going so hard on making it look like classic Halo. And I think that's like a good thing to, you know, create a certain style, but like, yeah, I just think it's kind of wild that they're launching an Xbox without.
John
I mean,
Halo.
because they can't really delay the console release at this point, right? Like that would be kind of
I mean,
that would be suicidal. Like they can't.
yeah,
do
you
that.
can't do that.
The problem, I guess, it wasn't really a problem I had with like the graphical fidelity or the presentation. When people were just taking like stills of the presentation, they're like, "What happened?" And you take into account that 343 Industries is backed by one of the world's largest companies with damn near infinite money. May I remind you guys that during the Red Ring of Death scandal, Microsoft shrugged off a $1 billion loss to replace everyone's Xbox 360. They have untold money. And they had as much time as they needed to make this game. And this is what they trotted out. And some people are justifiably like, why? This is Halo. We expect better. And I think that's fair. I think that's 100% fair to say. The texturing on the brutes is bad. It's not great. They don't even look threatening. Like, I know the meme of Craig, the unassuming brute, as I said, like in our chat, like a couple weeks ago, he looks like he got bored reading the Economist paper. And you just interrupted him with some assault rifle rounds to the face.
To be fair, The Economist is a very boring and evil newspaper, so it's fine.
You got a point.
And yeah, the background textures, like if the Paul screenshots, I'll actually just share this in our Discord chat that we're using. If you take a look at the background of like the world, looks like they're just flat. It's extreme. All of it's really flat, and it's like you're one of the largest gaming companies. You have near infinite resources.
Look at those teraflops. The world's most powerful gaming console.
This does not.
Yeah,
represent
like
that.
that's the kind of thing is like I don't want to like speak out of pocket here
Mhm.
because I am not a seasoned game developer, and what we see is a vertical. What we see in these demos, yada yada yada, all this disclaimer stuff I usually say that to be nice to people.
Yeah.
But like it just feels like I don't know if this is just like the ceiling of the Halo aesthetic, or if this because it's like a massive open world kind of game, the style just kind of looks flat when you come up to it that close.
Yeah.
I mean, in the way it's kind of like in the way that like Breath of the Wild is not a super graphically impressive game like in very intimate situations, but like the broad strokes of like the art design and the big like image of the world like makes up for that. And it feels like that Halo doesn't have that. Halo, if it doesn't seem to have that saving grace here.
No, Ray, I got an idea for you. This is gonna go this. Okay, this is how you move up. So go into work at unidentified gaming company tomorrow, and just go to your next meeting and be like, look, stop what you're doing. We're spending way too much time on textures. Just slap Bing Maps on everything. If it's good enough for Microsoft, it's good enough for us. They will make you CEO of that company immediately.
See, that's the thing. It's clearly not good enough for Microsoft because as Mike led in with this, they delayed the game for this. The
Yeah, but
backlash
here's
was
the thing.
that real.
Here's the thing. They put it out on a display case as if they were proud of it, and then they didn't pull it back until people got pissy. So it was
Man,
good
that
enough
makes
for
me
them.
feel so fucking sad. That really does, because you know there are some tech artists that are like, fuck, damn, that they are just getting on. And yeah, there's a screenshot I shared below. This is a screen cap from the PS5 captured software of the new Ratchet and Clank game, and it's just night and fucking day. It's not even fair. So, I feel really...
Jeffrey needs to go back and get on the Wacom tablet and just start drawing like crazy.
I don't know if they had to make some serious sacrifices because, okay, obviously they had to do this because it's an open world game. That's fine. That's 100% understandable. But if you're looking at like small little details, like the grass textures are from the 360 era. Look at the grass. Look at
Just
the-
look at it.
the grunts.
I was
are
promised individual blades of blowing grass, all individually rendered with their own collision, because the power of the X was going to get me there.
Technically, Josh, I know you're taking a piss, but you can technically do that on the PS4. Like, there's a lot of technology that goes into it. There's a lot of like system memory that'll stop you from doing that eventually. But you could do that if you want to. An example of a game is like Flower or the Everything engine. I mean, the game called Everything or something like that.
I have everything. I need to play it at some point.
Oh my gosh. Well, the point is you could do that in that game. But I do feel bad for them. You're absolutely right. They're like, this is what we got. We're releasing in like 2 months after we show you this video. And you're like, ah, shit, I hope the game... What I was going into it was, like, I hope the gameplay's really fun. Because I'm going to buy it on Game Pass. I'm hoping that it's really fun.
Ray can't help himself but feel bad for billion-dollar companies.
I feel bad for the artists. I truly do feel bad for the artists here. Microsoft knew what they were doing. 343 at a certain point were like, yeah, this is what we're coming out with. But the tech artists and the animation designers, and they're the ones taking all the heat. They're the ones in the back, like, probably drinking. And they're like, fuck, man. Twitter's all over us right now. Reddit is all over us. The Halo community is just memeing on us.
The ownage has been increased by 500% over the past 24 hours. We can't handle ownage of this magnitude. We have to delay the game.
We can't deflect ownage of this magnitude! Shields can't repel it!
Our community advisors can't handle this.
But yeah, they ended up delaying the game for that.
Mods!
real talk, I do respect the fact that they delayed the game
Yes,
due
absolutely.
to feedback.
I mean, we are dunking on them, but like that is something we've always said is like take the time it takes to make it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like major cojones to like actually call it.
Especially
I
like
could-
I didn't even like think about the whole like they're delaying the Halo next to the Xbox like that takes
That's
some
wild.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I respect Microsoft for that. But I do. They probably just said, okay, guys, probably isn't going to be like the 5 million seller we were anticipating. What time do you guys need to get it to that point?
yeah.
Because we need our money back. We need you to still exist as a company. What's it going to take? They probably like came up with some numbers, crunched it out, and they said, cool.
Do I need to call Bungie?
They activate like the sleeper cell inside of Bungie. And...
But so Phil Spencer sits down and says, I got their number. They remember me.
See with the sun setting, the locations that are being removed from Destiny are being
Are they
ported
putting into Halo?
Halo. Why don't we just pick up Titan and push it into a different game?
Can you just imagine the Master Chief running the Pyramidian?
God damn it. Man, okay, brief Destiny aside before the tech minute. Like, I'd like kind of like I've said before with all these big changes they're doing, you kind of have to think of this that this is secretly Destiny 3, and they just don't want to stop production and support on Destiny 2 for 2.5 years to make Destiny 3. So I think I think once you kind of think of it that way, everything that's happening kind of makes sense. And I don't know. But like, I guess as someone who plays a lot of Destiny, I take a look at the list of the strikes that are up for leaving, that are going to be leaving the game. And I am
You're okay with it?
I'm very okay with that. Like, I like running strikes. I think they're fun. If I never have to do the Pyramidian again, or at least have a year off of doing the Pyramidian, sign me up.
Yeah, if I don't have to.
Also, the Mercury ones. Those ones.
If I don't have to go deal with Sabbath and Song again, I'll be okay.
Yeah, like, I just. Like, I understand people's concerns about the sunsetting. It's kind of weird. Like, it's a weird kind of thing. Like, I feel like a game like Destiny hasn't done something quite like this before. But it's just...
I mean, I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I feel like it's a real rock and a hard place thing. It's like, do you either not want to have all content and support for this game dropped and then have something new in 2.5 years? Or do you want the continual support with things like sunsetting and the content vault to make that actually sustainable for their ability to produce said content? I just feel like some people just do not understand, like, the project management that needs to happen that led to this decision being made. But yeah, what do I know?
Yeah,
what do I know?
I agree.
I'm getting a Bungie. We talked about this very briefly, Mike, but last week Bungie had 55 career openings on their career page. That's a new game. They're making something. They're making something. I don't know what. They're doing something.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned before that they there have been some rumors of like a new Bungie IP floating around for a while. So I imagine this is part of that, but I don't think we'll see something. I don't think we'll hear anything from that for quite a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds like we had a Josh Tech minute
We do.
in the
Josh's
list,
Tech
right?
Minute. Boom. So, are
Start
y'all
timer.
ready for some new graphics?
I love graphics.
This is gonna be you heading myself for
No. In 1 week, from today, as of today's recording. So on September 1st, we are getting the NVIDIA announcement for their Ampere graphics card, the rumored 3000 series. A lot of information has been leaking over the last few weeks and months. This has probably one of been the leakiest launches that NVIDIA has ever had. We have seen the reference design for the supposed 3080 and the 3090. The 3090 apparently being their top tier card. Getting away from the 20, the TI designation for their top tier card. I think we are trying to set ourselves apart from AMD because they're a little worried about the competition there. So the 3090.
10 seconds.
Oh my God! Stop. The 3090 has a weird, wonky triple slot cooling design. If you get a chance, go look up some of the information, the pictures of the 3090 leak. So we don't have specific pricing yet. Apparently, NVIDIA is pretty last minute when it comes to their pricing. There's a story of one of the trade shows that they did for one of the launches where the CEO literally set the price for the graphics card before they went out on stage. But the rumor is, so the 3060, usually your entry level budget card,
$400.
I'm looking at the leaked picture of it, and I don't think that would fit in my current rig.
yeah, it's a chunky boy. There's also, if you look at the back plate and some of the solder points, it looks like there are three pin plugs for PCIe power. But so yeah, 3060, $400, 3070, $600, 3080, $800, and the 3090 is rumored to be about $1,400 plus.
There's legitimate builds you can make for less than that.
Damn, boy.
Yeah. I mean, I got my 5700 XT. Granted, it's a reference design. It's not the top tier of that particular card. I got that for $300. You can get a 5700 XT in the $350 to $400 range. That's AMD's top tier card. It doesn't pull punches with the 2080 Ti or the 2080 Super, but it will be 2070 Super. It'll hold class with, which runs for about $600. So the fact that somehow we are going from, 2 generations ago, the 1060 you could get for $150, $200, to now the entry level card for them is in the $400 range just seems absolutely absurd.
That's wild, man.
But, NVIDIA is also kind of leading the charge when it comes to the graphics space and setting the way for what's next. I mean, we're kind of getting to the point where the cards have to do something pretty special to get people to upgrade. So, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors. MSI registered 29 Ampere cards on the European exchange today. So, probably a lot of different SKUs for the same card. Obviously, they probably have some workstation level like Ampere cards as well. So, I don't know. 1 week, September 1st, it's on the anniversary of NVIDIA's launch from 10 years ago, of their, what was it, I can't remember what the card was, the 5 something, but the 680. No, I don't remember. I can't remember. Anyway, that's happening. They're going to be expensive. They'll trace a lot of rays. What's that?
Ray tracing is a scam.
Oh yeah, it makes your frame rate worse. So I don't know what they're gonna be able to do, but besides saying like, hey, we have a lot more teraflops, and some of these cards take a lot of power to get people excited about them. But hey, get ready for good secondhand and previous generation deals. So in about 2 weeks, it's gonna be a really good time to buy a 2000 series card, or whenever they actually launch them. I don't know that we have an actual date of when they're going to be available for purchase, but yeah. So, wow, I had a segue and then I lost it. because I'm a terrible person. But you know what's not terrible?
What's that?
Subscribing to Unscripted Gaming. Go to Unscripted.
Yes.
We got there. You can get us all over the web. You can find us at unscriptedgaming.com. You can follow us on Facebook at Unscripted Game Podcast, at Twitter at unscript_gaming. We are on SoundCloud.com/unscripted-gaming. You can get us on Apple Podcasts until Epic takes Apple down. Google Play Podcasts until we get to monetize there for some reason. Stitcher.
Ah, fuck.
Anywhere you get your podcast, we are there. Get us there. Thank you for watching Unscripted
You can
Gaming.
find us on our pirate radio station until the FCC finds my vessel and destroys it.
Yeah. Get it.